Mark. Welcome to Keeping Fit and Well, sponsored by the Podcast Studio in Glasgow, and this is where we are today. And that's Mark in real life.
Hi, Mark. Hello. In real life.
That's my producer, Mark. And I've got my good guest on today, who is a member of Team KP. And I just wanted to say that because that's what me and Stacey were talking about today, is we were saying there's such a big difference, see, from when you first joined the membership to now. Do you think so?
Oh, yeah. Huge.
Right, okay. So
I'll change.
do you want to give people a wee brief introduction of what you do, who you are, because it's actually a really brave thing to do, what you're doing. I always think this when I see you talking and stuff like that.
Thanks. I'm getting a wee bit more confident now.
Uh-huh.
So where will I start actually? Right, so I'm Laura, I'm 33. No, I'm not, I'm 34 because I was 34 on Friday.
Yes, happy
I need to get
birthday.
used to that. And I live in Cumbernauld, where I've grew up all my life. That's where I've stayed. And I have recently just started my wee Instagram page.
Yeah, but I mean, it's grown good. ABCFU,
ABCD.
ABCD. Why so many letters there? I was trying to remember it last night and I'm like, right.
What is this?
ABCDEFU. Fuck. Shit.
There was a dash and a dot in it as well, and I thought, oh my God, I've made this so complicated, so I took them out. But basically, ABCD comes as like a wee bit of inspiration for a woman that runs a charity, a secondary breast cancer charity.
Right, okay.
And it's after breast cancer diagnosis, ABCD stands for. So I was like, and see, because that song, ABC, okay, let's cut that bit out.
It's a really annoying song.
That song, I don't know, it just stuck in my head every time I seen her, because she's got a page and it's ABC diagnosis, so it just means after breast cancer diagnosis. I was like, I like that, and I like that song, like, because it keeps repeating
Just
in my
means
head,
something
and I
as
was just
well,
like,
man.
that's quite catchy. And then I thought, right, how can I make that more my own? And then that's when I just thought,
Because it is growing. Because obviously
Yeah.
I went on last night just to kind of familiarise myself with some of the stuff that you talk about, and I was like, fucking hell, your followers are creeping on
know.
up there, aren't they? So people are loving the message.
yeah,
They're following your story.
yeah.
Because obviously we first watched your story on Mary's getting a lift.
Yeah, that's
And Stacey,
right.
she was howling, man. I was a wee bit, I don't really cry. I've got a bit of fucking...
All like greeting.
I was a bit of a glass
Which part was
eye.
funny?
Yeah, no, a glass eye material. But she was actually, it was like a pure touching story, man.
I know, I think loads of people did reach out after that, and that's how it actually grew. Like Mary's is why my page grew, because I don't think if I went on that, or if I didn't go on that, it would have maybe slowly got there, but it just got the message
I
out
know,
a bit
but
quicker.
I'm hoping that obviously you're coming on here today and we get
Yeah.
to spread some more of
Yeah.
the word about it, because it's so important. So tell us about what your page is about, because I've just spoke
Yeah.
about your name about it.
So I started that, it was only back in July actually, and it's nearly
Really?
like 2,000 people
So good.
following. I'm like, oh my God, 2,000 people want to know what I'm doing. I find that a wee bit creepy, but
Yeah, it
yeah,
is.
it's still the same. But I started that because when I was 28, so back in 2018, I lost my sister. She was 41. She had sarcoma cancer, like cancer in her pelvis. And that just kind of progressively got worse, and then she passed away in 2018, but that was in the March. And then in April, I had a burning sensation under my armpit, and I went to the doctors and they couldn't find any lumps or anything like that, and they were like, no, that's you, you're fine, off you go, you've got health anxiety, basically, because
Yeah.
I had lost my sister. And I kind of thought to myself, right, okay, maybe it's stress, maybe it's blah, blah,
And
blah.
probably a bit of health anxiety, but luckily, you know what I mean, you
Yeah.
kept pushing it.
So come the August that year, I found a lump in my breast, and I was just like, oh my God, look, there's something there. And it was the same side I had the burning sensation.
Yeah.
So I was like, right, I need to go and get this checked. And I went, and they done a biopsy, and they said that I would hear back, like, I missed the meeting for that week, so I would hear back like the end of the following week, and I got a call on the Monday after it, and I was like, oh God, this isn't good, like I shouldn't
Yeah.
be hearing back so quick for them.
Horrible, man.
And they said, can you come in on Wednesday? And I was like, right, okay. And they said, bring somebody with you. And I was like, okay,
Yeah.
I know what I'm going to
'Cause
hear
you-
here.
Yeah.
So that's when I got diagnosed with the primary breast cancer diagnosis. So it's like just the initial, like it was just there. It was just, I always point, but it was just there. And it never spread. They removed lymph nodes and stuff to make sure it hadn't spread, and that was fine. So I was given like the best prognosis. They were like, we really don't expect this to come back.
Yeah.
And just kind of from then on was on like a hormone treatment. So tamoxifen, I don't know if you've heard that.
Yeah.
I only lasted 2 years on it because it made me an absolute psycho. Like I hated it. Absolutely hated it. I just felt, I don't know, I just felt like a total demon had came and taken over me mentally. I just overthought everything. Now, I'm a big overthinker, but that just made it 10 times worse.
And with the fact that your cancer diagnosis, your sister, like it's so dark, you know how, like obviously my mum had the breast cancer, and it's just, it's so dark, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Like, and you were saying about them saying about you've probably got health anxiety. It did trigger. I had pure mad crazy health anxiety after it, and you might be the same as well, where it's like a headache. You're like, oh, what the fuck's wrong now? Like, it's horrible.
Every ache and pain, you just
everything,
overthink
man,
it.
and it's such a we were talking the other week about how much your mental health is like suffers, and then how much focus your mental health actually needs and care that it needs, doesn't it?
Massively. I think like now I've got the right tools, but beforehand I didn't, you know, and I didn't know how to handle it. And I'd done as much as I could, you know, like I would go to therapy and try and do it that way, but I've never taken this approach, but I guess that'll come later in the conversation that we'll kind of get to. But that was my initial diagnosis in 2018. They told me, you'll be fine, be on this hormone therapy for 5 years. Lasted 2 years. Said I wanted to come off it to try for another baby. I did and I didn't. I came off it because I was a psycho.
You were just, you wanted to give them like a reason then?
And also I've always wanted another, like I would have loved to have had another kid.
No.
But
honestly, two's too many, genuinely.
I know, well, I've got my
awful.
one wee Millie and she's just...
one is fine.
She fills my brain,
it's
my
fun.
heart, my everything.
Yeah, empties your soul and your bank account. But, you know,
that's true.
one's good. But you said that so that you could kind of be like, listen, I want to come off of this now.
Yeah.
Was it easy?
Coming off it was fine.
Did they say, just stop taking it?
So I spoke to one of the nurses and I said, what's the purpose of me taking this? Like, what's this doing for me? And there was less than 9% chance of stopping reoccurrence.
So you're like,
so I'm torturing myself here.
Why then? I mean, that's low. 9%.
Way too low for me to even consider staying on it. So I was only on that for 2 years, and then I just went about my life as normal, and I met a woman not that long ago, actually, like maybe about a year, but like last April, maybe like a year past, anyway, in 2022. And she said, listen, I wouldn't have another baby if I were you, basically. She says, if you have another baby, if you want to stay alive to see your baby grow up, I wouldn't be having any more children. I was like, oh. So then that harsh realisation of you can't have another child then hit, even though I was like, I would like to, but that's not solely the reason
it's
I
been
was off.
told you, you can.
When I was told that, I was like, I was distraught.
Were you?
Like, I think it was the option of that being taken away.
It is. It's the same way like women in the menopause. It's like, did they really want another kid at like 45? But, you know, it's the option of it being taken away that people...
I just felt like everything, so slowly little things were getting taken away. My sister had been taken away. I had had cancer, so a part of me was like gone. And then all of a sudden, no, you're not going to be... You're not going to be a mum again.
And that is what it is. I think that a lot of your power's taken away. And then see how now you're doing the healthy focus and all that, and you're doing now you feel like you've got a bit of control and a bit of power back over your health, and it actually helps your mental health, doesn't it?
100% helps.
So
yeah, definitely.
It is that. I felt that with my mum as well. It was just all of a sudden you're going for all these appointments. Your life is now just suddenly different, isn't it? Like you just get that diagnosis, and you know, 2 days ago you were worrying about like if I put a pink sock in with that whitewash, and now all of a sudden
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, doesn't it? So see, once you get that told and everything's going to be fine, what then happened? You came off the tamoxifen.
I came off of that. I then seen the woman who said, "Oh, you know, don't have any more children because the hormones through your body could create." She says the amount of people that I've seen back again that have had went on to have children.
Put the doubts in now, like,
I was like, right, okay. So that was the decision made for me. I was like, right, okay, well, that's it. I can't have any more kids. But I didn't go back on it. I didn't want to go back on it. And just this year should have been my 5-year cancer-free. Like, I should have got told that was me cancer-free. And then I've kind of skipped a bit actually again, but so in between times, and last April, not that April there, April 2022, my brother had been going back and forward to the hospital with pains in his stomach, had an ultrasound in his stomach in the December, told it was all clear, and then in the April he took himself to A&E because the pain had just got too much, and that's when he was diagnosed with colon cancer. So he's got stage 4 colon cancer that's spread to different
genetic
areas.
link.
Nah, so they say. But I don't think... I used to think, what is cancer research? Why are we raising money for them, right? And I couldn't get my head around it. I never ever could. And it's not until the 3 of us have been in that position that I've been like, right, okay, that's what they do. They're testing for genetics. They're researching to try and find a gene to ultimately protect our children. Do you know what I mean? But so now I believe in it. But yeah, so he was diagnosed in April 2022. So he kind of just goes through all his chemo and all that. I'm saying just goes through as if it's like it's like horrific.
It's horrific, man.
It's like he's in and out of hospital, and just the side effects are just terrible.
Awful,
it's so
mate.
bad. It's
awful, man.
The IV stuff, it just takes over.
I know. And that was the thing with my mum. That was actually what I was most frightened of, that she was going to take the treatment and go down
That's
the chemo
right.
route.
You said that she never
because
did,
I'm like, you know, everybody's got their own sort of path in health and stuff like that. But for my mum, it would really strip her of everything. And I think you need I think to fight something like that, you need your soul. You need to be a fighter. And I think if my mum, being the type of person she has, got that, I think she would just be an ill person. And see, when my mum had cancer, she was like that, basically saying, I don't feel like I'm ill. I'm just doing my supplements. I'm being healthy. She's going to the gym. She was training with me. She looked amazing. And she didn't take it on. She didn't take on the kind of, I'm an ill person.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like if she'd have went down that route, she would be an ill person. So it's not for everyone. I mean, my friend, she took it and she's great now. She went through the process of the chemo. It was horrendous, but she came out the other side and she's all right. She's got a kid now. But I think you just need to really see what kind of person you are to be able to handle it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think when you get like a stage 4 sort of incurable diagnosis, it then becomes, right, okay, well, what are my options here? And like, because it's so advanced at that point, you're like, it's really, really scary. I used to always say, when I had seen my sister go through chemo, and she was really, really strong with it, like didn't let it break her down. But I always said, I'll never take chemo. I'll never do chemo.
Just something for you. I would be the same.
But now I'm like, then when you're in that situation, it's so different. It's so scary.
It's so scary because you don't really know. And see, when it's something unknown, see, when you think, like when we thought, right, my mum, we didn't know what it was, she had got cut out and we were seeing if it was in the lymph. These were all the worst moments. See, when we actually knew what we were dealing with, you're like, right, okay, but it's this unknown. Is it spreading? Oh God, she's got a headache today. Is it in her brain? It's just living like that, isn't it, man?
Constantly.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So where are you now with things?
So my brother got the diagnosis in April 2022, and then this year in April 2023, we're still in 2023. We're nearly at the end. I was then in the same hospital on the same date. So he got diagnosed on the 12th of April 2022 and I got diagnosed on the 12th of April 2023 in the same hospital, in the same accident and emergency. I know, it's just bizarre.
Isn't it?
I know, you couldn't make half of this stuff up. It's like, there's just so many coincidences with
weird,
things.
Isn't it?
It's like, well, I'm saying coincidences. I don't believe it's coincidence.
Well, I don't know.
Like,
do you know what I mean?
think
But
it's
like, how's your parents like?
Aye, so then I was diagnosed in this year. So it's secondary, stage 4, incurable. I don't know if I said that, but just to make it clear. And yeah, so my mum and dad are naturally distraught. Like, they just can't even bear thinking about it. Like, even though I'm in the situation that I'm in, and it just doesn't bear thinking like about my wee girl, like Millie, and just like how I feel about that situation, to then think about how they must feel it being out of their control. And
that's what it is.
Children, like one of them no longer here. I can't imagine. They're like superheroes to me.
I think so as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's such a big trauma for everyone in it when there's a cancer diagnosis. It's like your worst. I couldn't never even used to be able to listen to an advert on the radio. You know how you hear an advert and it'd be like, we're sitting down giving I would never listen to a full one. And then like when my mum got it, I actually started to listen to them because I thought I just need to find other people that are in this situation, because it was my mum, it was out of the control of us. So you're like that constantly going, how are you feeling? How are you feeling? Doing her tits in, do you know what I mean? She's like, fucking hell. But it's so rough.
I'm laughing, doing her tits in, literally.
I know, well, one of them now, because she got it. But do you know what I mean? Like, it's hardcore, man, for the family. Like, see, for like your man, like your wee girl and stuff. The family, man.
I know. She's just like, my wee girl's just like I don't know, she just takes it. Like, she's very like me, like she feels everything, like she worries
Pure
about
empathic.
things and all that, but somehow, I'm saying somehow, I don't think it's somehow, I believe because I'm in a better way now than what I was when I was diagnosed. So the two of us would sit and cry all the time, me and Millie.
That's tough, man.
Right? So she would say something to me and I would break down, or she would start getting upset and I just couldn't hold it in, because like my emotions were just everywhere.
Fucking it was everywhere, aren't they?
Brutal, absolutely brutal. But like now, she just kind of, she'll still have her wobbles. She definitely still has her wobbles, and it's horrible when it does happen, and it kind of takes me right back again. Like, and I'm like, right, no, we can't let it. But I do believe, because I have become the way I've become now, and how I'm handling it does rub off on her.
1,000,000% will do. Do you know what I mean? Because you're like doing something so positive now, and that is actually what they say when you have something like that going on. See if you can sort of kind of turn something into a positive, where you're like going and you're speaking at these events and stuff now, and people are kind of looking to you like as inspiration. Like, it gives you this other focus with it, doesn't it? Instead of sitting being like, oh my God, this is a terrible diagnosis. Like, you've got this new focus, and being part of the membership, like you're fucking doing good, man, now.
It is.
Because I remember when you first were like, I don't know if I should do this. Remember?
I think I contacted you about 4 or 5 days.
You were annoying.
Oh well, I'm going to continue to be annoying.
No, but you were like, I don't know if I should, and I was like, you 100% should. Not that I can ever push anything on somebody, because it's a personal choice.
That's the thing, though. If you're sitting like thinking about it as well, right? And I didn't know you at the time, and I've just watched your YouTube and your stories on Instagram and all the rest of it. And every time I watched it, I was like, damn, I should be doing that. Like, I need to do that. And every time that I spoke to you about it, I was like, right. But I don't know, I just feel like it came at the right time, because I don't think I could have done it right back at the beginning.
You wouldn't have been able to do it. You were obviously kind of that way where you manifest something into your life. You're probably looking for a way of being healthier, being positive, being a bit mentally better. So you probably did sort of make yourself ready for it. You wouldn't have been ready back then for it. Do you know what I mean?
No, I would never have been able to focus. And then I think when I did join, it was like a couple of months before I was due to go on holiday, because my holiday got postponed and all that. And I was like, right, I'm going to join the now, but I don't know how much I'll do. And you were just like, that's fine, like just do what you can. And I'm so glad that I did do that, because I was going to wait until after I came back my holidays. And it was like that thing, right, wait till Monday, wait till January. Like, you know what I mean?
Just fucking do it, man.
And then when I went on holiday, I just remember like automatically making different choices, but not even and I genuinely hadn't got even touched the surface with any of the stuff, but just being in the chat and seeing what all the other girls do, and like just watching your videos and stuff like that, I was like, right, okay, well, I know these wee things that I can do. Do you know what I mean?
So how do you feel now, like about health and about everything?
I don't know, I get dead scared to answer. Like, I know that's ridiculous, right? But I get dead scared because I feel really good.
Good.
But I get so scared to say it out loud, because I've just got this there's still that wee guy in the back of my head going, if you say you're good, then that is the chimp.
That's the fucking chimp.
Everybody needs to read that.
Like, no, honestly, you need to say if you're like, you feel fucking great.
No, I do.
You look really good. Like, even the white of your eyes. Like, if I'm looking at somebody's health, I'll look at the white of their eyes and stuff like that. Like, everything is going good. So,
no, definitely. So more recently, I'm on treatment just now. So it's like an oral kind of. Some of the doctors and specialists say it's a chemo and others don't. It's like a targeted therapy. So it's still got like similar side effects of chemo, but it's just like reduced.
So where is it targeting if they've...
So this, I know I feel like I've jumped around.
I just want to talk about like mostly you, what you're doing and stuff. Like, do you know what I mean?
So when I get diagnosed, I was told that it had spread to mainly my bones. So my spine was the major part that was affected, and my pelvis. So there was like a big hole out of the pelvis. See, like your tailbone, how like it turned, like kind of turned under. Obviously, there was literally like a big black hole. So and it was just like a big chunk.
As if somebody leaned on the scan or something like that.
Where's taking a big bite? Where's it gone?
You're like looking for it in your pocket. Like, what's...
Aye, so that was like, there was a big chunk out of there, and some of the main areas in my spine was like your vertebrae. So where that meets your spinal cord, there was parts starting to look as if they were protruding into my spinal cord. So when I was diagnosed, the actual day I was diagnosed, they were like, you can't move, and got me to lie down in a bed and strapped me in this bed and blue lighted me over to the Beatson, and I was like hyperventilating.
Yeah, no wonder.
And
like,
I was
that seems
up to
like a nightmare. Like
eyeballs and diazepam, because I was just like...
Yeah, they would need to be like that. I need ketamine directly into that vein. Do you know what I mean? Fuck's sake, man.
I just remember they put me into a ward when I got to the Beatson, right? And I was hysterical, crying, hanging off at Alan saying, take me home. I need to go home and see Millie, take me home. I just didn't want to be there, because why would you want to spend your night in a hospital with nobody?
With nobody, not feeling in a good type of way. But people can also hear you. Do you know what I mean?
So that's exactly it. Right, but I hadn't thought about that. And then next thing, a nurse or somebody came in and was like, we're going to move you to your own room. And I thought, this is like 11 o'clock or 10 o'clock at night. Like, why did you just put me in here in the first place?
No.
So traumatising. And it would have been triggering for other people in there too.
Yes.
Because they've been through that. So I was like...
But like, how much is your health in a state after a big trauma like that?
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
I know.
That's not what you need.
I know. I mean, I couldn't have dealt with listening to myself. Like,
but like, you blue lighted, strapped down like that. Don't worry. Put smooth radio on.
Aye, that's what they're like. Is don't get me wrong, but the paramedics, they were lovely. Like, they were just like, listen, we know what you've just been told. Like, just if you want to chat, we're here. Like, just let us know.
So you basically get told like your spine and all that, but we need to strap you down and move you for what? What we've got to do?
So they only told me at the time that the MRI that they done on me had shown that there was cancer there, and that it was in my spine at the time. They didn't say like my pelvis and all that. So when I got there the next day, 2 consultants came and sat me down and were like, what do you know? And I was like, I've got cancer in my spine. And they were like, right, okay, yeah, it's in your spine, your pelvis, your ribs, your shoulder and your liver. And I was like
just after having that night like that, then that was the next day. Like, can I have a coffee, or is there anything like?
No, I could have done with something stronger.
So really, that was literally the next day. They just hit you with that.
Yeah. So they said, but I just kept saying to them, I want home with my little girl. I don't want to be in here. I want to be in my own house. I want to spend time with my family. Like, because at that point I was like that. Oh God, I'm dying. That's me. That's it. So I was like, why am I wasting my time in here? If that's if this is what's going on, then I want to be at home and spend time with the people that matter. But so they kind of discussed it all with me, and then they said, we know that you're keen to get home. And I was like, yeah, basically I'm going home. Like, you just need to work around me. But they are really, really good. Do you know what I mean? They will like kind of do as much as they can, because they know it's traumatic. So they let me go home, and then I had to go back in the next day, and I get radiotherapy on my spine, and it was like 5 blasts in one go, and it was to avoid it becoming spinal compression, because that's where they were really worried. That's why they strapped me down and all that, because they were like, if this moves, or you could be paralysed basically. So then I seen like a spinal specialist who was like, oh, that's great, they've reacted so fast and it's brilliant, he says, but if I had been looking at that, I probably wouldn't have been as concerned to jump on that so fast. So albeit it was traumatic and so scary and worrying at the time that they were like, oh my God, this could be spinal compression. See, for me, it was just really the cancer. Like, I just couldn't stop thinking about anything else other than cancer.
Yeah, that's what I would think too.
Because I was like, well, take my legs. I'll stay here as long as I can stay. That's all I'm bothered about. So, yeah. But so after that, they put me on loads of different treatments. So I'm now on ribociclib, which is like a targeted chemo oral therapy. So I take that for 3 weeks on, usually 2 weeks off. It's meant to be a week off.
Oh, right, okay.
My bloods don't recover quick enough. I'm also on, you'll be like, oh. I'm also on, so it's a hormone injection. Well, I call it a hormone injection, Solidex. So it shuts down all your ovaries and all that, all your womanly parts, and puts me into chemical menopause. I then get another injection which builds up my bones. So where the chemo tablet's meant to shrink the cancer, the bone injection's meant to go in and fix it all, like sparkle its fairy dust and make it all better.
Yes, and the chemical menopause is really rough on people.
It is.
How's that been?
It is rough, but I feel better now than I did last year.
But you're taking such good care of yourself now.
That's where I'm like, right, okay, so last year I was sitting about, I wasn't moving a lot, like I couldn't because of the pain. I wasn't moving about a lot, I was eating crap, wasn't sleeping very well either because of the pain, and it just got to a point and my stress levels were like through the roof because of all that. So actually the chemical menopause, I'd prefer to be in this chemical menopause than how I felt last year. Which is really, really strange. And I also thought, I'm never going to be able to handle this because I couldn't handle the tamoxifen. I thought, right, okay, this is it. I'm doomed. Like, you're going to, like saying to Alan, my husband, I was like, you're going to be living with a monster now because that's how it made me. I know. He was like, well, maybe I'll be a nicer monster.
Be used to that. You know what I mean? But no, it does hit people really hard. I mean, I've worked with a few women where it's not, and it's been like you, and actually, they're like, no, I'm actually all right doing this. So
I think I've managed to balance it out by doing everything with you guys. Like, I think if I was still living the same lifestyle, I'd naturally not be in a good place because...
But that makes sense.
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
So it's bizarre because I do say to people will be like, how do you feel? And I'll be like, I actually feel...
good and
quite good.
You should say that.
I know. I need to get used to saying it. It's just this.
Listen, I know. I've got that. I've got like the OCD, like when I'm scared to do things like that too. Like I'm doing well, and then you're like, fuck. What if I don't do well tomorrow now? Do you know what I mean? But you shouldn't.
Or what if things change?
You shouldn't. If they do, they do. But you should be like pure. I feel good.
I know.
You know what I mean?
And I think as well, sometimes you're like, right, okay, if I say I'm doing good, there's that wee monster again, or the wee chimp in your head going like that. Do they think that I'm at it? Do they think, do you know, but it's ridiculous. Like pure ridiculous. Really? And I'm like, there's just a wee thing that niggles at the back of my head. And I know it's stupid because I would never dream of thinking anything like that if somebody was to say anything like that to me. But
you almost feel like you need to be a sick person. Like, well, people waiting on you like that. You know, she doesn't look that sick. I mean, so it's good there. She got her eyebrows done.
I know.
But that can be our culture as well. Do you know what I mean?
That's true.
We're all like that over here. I mean, she's not sick enough, is she?
I know. Well, she doesn't look it. So the whole invisible disabilities come about.
I think that you have to keep not like embodying that. I think you need to be like, I'm putting this on, I look good today, I'm feeling good today. Like that's what I was saying to what my mum did, and I think it did make it easier for me because I didn't go a day up to her house where she looked like an ill person. She's perfect hair, like she just looked good. She was at the gym and I'm just like, she at it. Do you know what I mean?
There you go. That's what I mean.
For my dad, like, she's in the gym now, I know. Do you know what I mean? But it is, but because she was like that, it was more empowering. And I think that's how it should be. I think that when you get your cancer diagnosis, it's like you're stripped with everything, as you were saying, the worry, the trauma, what the fuck's happening next, like where am I going now? Whereas like I think more of like an empowering. I remember when I used to kind of hang about with this guru woman, she was like that when I told her about my mum, because people's reactions were making me feel worse. People going, oh my, and them crying and all that, and I'm like, no. And I remember her reaction. She was like, oh well, it's a disease in the body, so she'll just need to get herself healthy again. And see her reaction, it was just brilliant. I just wanted to hang about with her all the time, because it just I felt empowered by her. I was like, okay, this isn't like a pure death sentence. I'm happy with this woman's like reaction. Do you know what I mean? So see, now my reaction's that, and I can always remember people saying to me, I'm so glad that your reaction isn't like hysterical into it, because it's like the big C word, oh fucking hell.
I used to cringe, like, it's not how you're saying when you see, like, or you used to see the cancer adverts or listen to them or whatever. I used to even like saying the word cancer after I lost my sister and after I had been diagnosed initially. Like every time I heard it or seen it or read it or somebody said it, it would be like a pure like this pure heavy weight on my chest. But now it's not. And I think it's because I am living with like something that they've told me is incurable. It is stage 4, the diagnosis you don't want to hear. And I'm like, I'm still feeling okay. And I know I am lucky for feeling like that. I know that not everybody's in that situation. But like, I think it just changes your perspective of it. And it's not always like, it's not just pure doom and gloom. Do you know what I mean?
People's reaction to you saying stuff like that? Like, you need to take care of your health. Like, are you in like working and talking to people who also have cancer and stuff like that? Are you getting a lot of that? People asking you, oh, what will I do, Laura, and stuff? Like, how is that going? Like, are you kind of spreading like, I'm doing this for my health, I'm doing this for my mental health? Like, how's it landing?
It's hard. Like, I've not quite mastered that part of it yet. Like, well, I've not mastered any of it, but like, so I think when I was initially diagnosed, I was in such a dark place for a good couple of months. But I had to let myself go through that grieving process.
You do.
It's like I needed to get that out of my system. But I don't know that I'd still be... I think I would still be feeling like that had I not taken the reins and made the changes. And I think it's hard to speak to people when they're in that grieving process. Like,
yes.
I think it's in that Chimp Paradox, actually, that says that... like basically describes grief as not just being losing someone. Do you know what I mean? You're even losing a part of yourself when you've given a diagnosis or, you know, a breakdown in a relationship or something like
You're
that.
You're forever changed.
So I think it's difficult because people seek out people when they're in their worst time.
Yes.
And then once they feel better, they don't really want to be involved in it as much. So when I speak to people, I do speak to them at their lowest.
Yes.
And it's quite difficult to kind of manage because I don't want to drag myself back into that position. But also I did create the page to help people in that situation, but not to be like an individual therapist.
I think it's really brave that you are doing that, because I often think about that. See, when you're talking about it, I'm like, because I know I get bombarded with mad questions and stuff like that, and I'm like, I wonder what you're getting on Instagram. And it's very hard because, like, when I work with clients and stuff who've got cancer, even when we chat, you do kind of go back to where you were when you were get that first diagnosis. Like, when we talk and stuff like that, I'm like back thinking about my mum telling me in the kitchen, and I think it's quite hard on you. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're not like a pure wall. You are like, you take on emotions. So I was wondering how you are protecting yourself against that kind of thing.
So I think I'll have an initial conversation with someone because at the end of the day, that's what I looked for initially as well. That's one of the reasons why I did sort of set up the page, is because initially what I looked for was somebody in the same situation as me.
And is there not that? Is that why you set the page
really
up?
Not a lot.
So there's not that kind of person there for when you first get that diagnosis? There's just like a gap. So you've tried to fill that then?
Yeah. So they'll give you sort of numbers for Maggie's and Macmillan and all the charities, which is all well and good, but you want somebody real life that looks like...
I would think so, yeah.
Looks like they've got a similar life to you, maybe a similar age of kids, or you're a similar age, or just like you want to have stuff in common to be able to see that this is could be okay. And when I searched, and don't get me wrong, there are people out there, but when I searched for them, still to this day, I've only came across about 2 people in Scotland.
Really?
The majority are in England. And I don't think it's that there's not many people up here. I just think that there's not many people like present on Instagram and social media and stuff like that, which is fine. But the first thing I done was Google, and like, not Google, but like pure search Instagram to try and find somebody that I could relate to, and for to read their story and be like, oh look, they're doing well, like, you know, there is hope. And I needed that wee bit of light, and at that point I just couldn't really find it. It was mainly down in England, but there wasn't really many people in the same sort of...
We found that too with my mum. We were actually, it was like America. My dad was talking to like doctors in America and stuff like that. There was nothing really here that you could really get to. It was like what you were saying, you get, you know, those numbers and stuff, but it was like nothing really personal that we could get to. Do you know what I mean? So obviously you're doing that job now kind of thing, like you're taking on that role. It's tough going.
Yeah. I think like when I do post things, like it's... Oh, I'm kicking my phone now. When I do post things that say... It's good to get the kind of feedback and people to come back to you and be like, oh God, like, so I don't know. For instance, I posted one that was about how to kind of react around someone that's had a cancer diagnosis or is in this kind of situation, and how you can help, and things to say but things not to say type thing. And the amount of people that came back and were just like, God, that's so helpful. I've just had this person, my friend, my family member,
so
blah, blah,
positive
blah.
that,
So that sort of feedback's really good. And I'm not saying that I don't want to speak to people either. I do. I really do, because that's the only way I find people in similar situations and stuff as well. And I do want to connect. But when somebody has just been diagnosed, it's a heavy weight to carry themselves. And it's like almost like I feel a wee bit honoured to be that person that they feel comfortable enough to talk to about it. But when you get to a point where you're having a conversation and they're not in that place yet that they want to help themselves, and I'm saying some people don't get there at all, that's where I start to struggle. Because
that's where I start to struggle with people as well. It's that's hard. Do you know what I mean? And when we were talking the other night as well, when you posted up your supplements and stuff like that, what's that like?
I wasn't expecting that at all, actually. I really wasn't. But yeah, like people saying, should you be taking
just
that?
Like putting me doubts in your mind, and it kind of like does. Do you know what I mean? You're like,
it really does.
Actually, really? And you're saying to me, well, you know, I'm taking this and it's healthy, but I've not been told that I shouldn't be drinking like Diet Coke or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Alcohol.
So how alcohol, stuff like that, but how can a natural... So just those wee things, when you put yourself out there online, man, it can be tough.
It is. I know I've had to actually battle with myself in my head since I messaged you about that. Like, just to say, like, no, like, you're doing the right thing here. You've cut out so much rubbish from your life. You have flipped everything. You've done, I was going to say a 360, but I've not quite. I'm getting there.
We've done well. We're like doing well.
In the air.
We're doing good.
And I've had to remind myself quite a few times, like, don't let that wee gremlin like eat away
That's
at you.
That's what you can't do. You can't let that happen.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I just think these wee things are wee tests. Do you know what I mean? Like, will you revert back to it?
Oh, no. The only thing that I thought was, like, okay, maybe I should look at that a little bit more to see.
Nothing wrong with doing that. I still get told things like that, and I'll look into that. But I actually like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's the doubts. You don't let it steer you off any sort of health path.
I won't. I genuinely, because I know myself that if I went back to the way I was living a year ago, like a normal Glaswegian person.
Just eating fags for your breakfast.
Oh, that wasn't quite it.
What is the diet of a Glaswegian person? I think it's stuff like that.
Just think it's
Red Bull. First thing in the morning.
I didn't even do Red Bull.
No, but
actually,
that's the diet.
Go.
Red Bull for their breakfast, right?
Yeah.
And then maybe a cigarette. And then like maybe something like a wee chewy sweet. It's quite popular in Scotland, like Wambar.
Yeah, maybe pop into Greggs for a sausage roll.
Greggs, just for something savoury. 7% meat. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
Yep.
don't. No,
Then
makes
for
me
like
feel sick
lunch,
now.
maybe a half pizza crunch. Do you know what I'm saying?
So true.
Can of Vimto, another packet of cigarettes, and then their dinner might get a wee takeaway.
Aye.
So, I mean, I'll
that
be having
does
serious
sound-
conversations with people and they think they've got IBS, but they've just told me that's their diet. And I'm like, yes, you do. Everyone would eat that. Do you know what I mean? My
I
client
know.
once hit out with, she was like that. I think I'm like getting an allergy to something. I went, tell me what you've ate today. She went, I had a McDonald's for my breakfast and then we went to that China buffet and then ended up having an Indian, but I don't know what it could be. I was like, all of that. Do you know what I mean? So like, we're dealing with a tough crowd.
Yeah.
So you're like that, I'm being healthy and I'm doing my mindset stuff. We're like that. Red Bull, where is it? Know what I mean?
Well, that is honestly, genuinely seems to be the hardest part so far.
Yes.
Somebody question what I'm doing while sitting there and maybe making different choices.
Why is she doing that? Know what I mean?
And that's where I find it challenging. And then somebody so deep in the grief that I need to like just be like, right, listen, I think that maybe have you tried Maggie's, have you tried Macmillan or whatever, because I am not equipped to deal with
And
this
that's
and I'm
fine.
dealing with my own grief.
Would
Do
you
know
ever
what I mean?
do any of that? Like, would you ever go down the route of doing more training and stuff to do that as like a...
I don't know. I don't know actually. There's a woman actually, you've seen me tagging her in the same post
Yes.
you do quite a lot, right? She does the NLP.
Yeah,
You
I'm
do as
jealous.
well.
I just don't like... I'm very only child. I'm like that when I'm tagging the same post. Who's
Sorry.
this girl?
Oh,
Who's
no,
this other lady?
She's great.
Am I
So
not number one? No. Yeah, good.
she so I seen her after Linda. I seen her after my sister passed away, and she helped me through quite a bit of that. So that was like my first kind of way of changing things.
Yes,
and my first kind of
$1,000,000% would say everyone should do that when they're grieving. You need professional help and stuff, don't you?
Yeah. So she was one of the first people that I kind of went to. I don't know why I was telling you this.
Because you were telling me that would you do this as...
Oh, yeah.
By the way, just well, I'm fucking on the ball,
I know,
isn't it?
my brain's like,
I'm fucking on the ball.
that lines means no kidding in.
It's not working.
So when I would go back and forward to her, and she still says to this day, she's like, you're dead in tune. Like, you know when you're feeling a certain way, but you just need that person to be like, right, let's bring you back down to earth and let's like deal with one thing at a time. She's like, but you're so aware, you're telling me what you need to fix. It's just how you go about sort of fixing it is the...
So, I mean, would that ever be, what's the path? What are you doing? This is a nice way for us to...
Well,
what do you think? Would you think about doing anything like that?
Potentially, I think as well, when my sister had been in the hospice, I also really, really wanted to kind of go into there. So that's why now that they are starting to look at doing different things as well, I'm like, I'll help, like, because I know, but I don't know if I could take on that from other people. Like, I think it's a lot.
You need to learn lots of ways that you can take it on and not take it home, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think that's where my issue would lie, is that I just get, like, I'd be waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning going, are they okay? Like, what's going on
if you're
with
too
them?
empathic, then you would take it home. It would be too much, you know what I mean? 'Cause you've got to protect your own energy and stuff like that.
Well, I'm quite happy doing, like, what I'm doing just now. So, obviously, the Strathgarden Hospice where my sister was, so I've kind of committed to helping them as much as I can. And also the secondary breast cancer charity, Met Up UK. So they've managed to get red flag symptoms of secondary breast cancer put into...
Can you go over what the red flags are of the secondary breast cancer? Because, you know, when you read about it, it's like everything. It's like...
Pure minefield.
What are the actual of the secondary?
So these symptoms, they've managed to get into England and Wales, right? And it's literally just a wee sheet or a wee infographic thing that they can click on. That wasn't something in the NHS at all, and they've had to fight to bring it in. It's not yet in Scotland, so that's what I'm...
Right, okay, good.
I would love to help do. And basically, if the doctors had this little piece of paper, I just keep saying a wee piece of paper, but if they had this wee sheet, I don't think I would have been as bad when I was diagnosed as I was. I think they would have caught it a long time before, because I was going back and forward for a good 8 to 10 months with different things.
Scary.
So that's why I think it's so important to get, and it's something so simple, but it's just not easy to just have it just, oh, there you go, put that into your system so that people can click on it. I wish it was.
So brutal, that,
I
isn't
know.
it?
So the symptoms that were missed for me were I kept getting pain under the right hand side of my rib, and I was getting terrible hangovers, right? Like really, really bad. I don't drink a lot. Well, I don't drink now, but like I didn't drink a lot. But when I did drink, it was like a good night out, and I was like, you know, probably overindulged. But I got to a point where I was waking up and I couldn't move with the pain in my side, and I was going,
what were you thinking it was? Like, you're waking up with that pain, were you like, I broke a rib or something here, or
I thought
pulled a muscle? What were you thinking?
It was always ribs. It was always ribs to me. I was like, oh, the rib pain. I was like, that's so, like, my ribs are sore, and I couldn't put it, like, I couldn't pinpoint it. So that would have been my liver. So my liver's quite badly diseased. So that would have been
that
the pain
would have been
from my
your liver, and
it would have been
that's
shouting at
why
me,
the
stop
alcohol,
drinking, stop drinking.
your hangovers would be so bad.
Yep.
Yeah.
But at times the pain was going round the other side. So then I wasn't focused on, oh, it's something definitely under the right hand side. I was like, oh, it's all my ribs.
Right, okay.
So there was times like that. And then at one point I woke up and I just couldn't move my back. But I was back and forward to like gynecologists and all that as well, because I was having pain down like your pelvic area.
Crampy pain or shooting pain or
Just like
gnawing? Like a pulsing, like a nervy pain? Right, okay.
There all the time. Flared up sometimes.
But like a shooting, were you ever getting... so it was like more of a gnawing?
I'd say I got shooting pains in at like
the diaphragm area,
but not in my pelvis. It was like I don't even know. I can't even describe it properly. It was just like
aching,
pure
like you're getting a fucking virus or something.
It just didn't feel right, and I'd go back and forward, and it was like endometriosis. I was like, well, I had some removed before when I was getting, like, I've only got one ovary, because when I had my initial breast cancer diagnosis, they whipped out one of my ovaries because I had ovarian torsion. So it was like a big, massive cyst, but it was fine. But just it was like causing me pain. I'm not flinging stuff out.
No, I mean, just like you woke up and they're like that, right, we've just done other things while you got at.
Yeah.
What?
So they removed that. But why was I telling you that now? I can't imagine.
You're going to tell me the symptoms of secondary breast cancer?
All right, we might get to that eventually. Well, yeah, no, that's definitely the treatment. So the liver pain that's one of them. The rib pain is also one of them.
There's no way I would think rib pain. The liver pain, I'd be more like the rib pain. What, have you overreached for something? Do you know what I mean?
No, it was like a band going
Isn't
round
it?
each
And
side.
right, what else?
The back pain. So I was getting back pain as well, to the point where that's why I ended up going
shoulder
A&E.
blades, middle or lower.
Do you know what? I should really check these, because there's ones that there's wee signs, right?
Oh, you're going to give it
symptoms.
to me? Yeah, okay. Because I actually think this is so important for...
There's loads of different symptoms, a lot of which I didn't have, because there's secondary breast cancer can spread to like your brain, it can spread to your lungs, it can literally go anywhere it wants. It can latch on to anything. I don't know if that's going to load. Oh, there we go. It can latch on to anything it wants, but the main place that it wants to go, and it's very, very common to go to your lungs, your liver and your bones. Your bones are the big one that it likes to kind of travel to. But I can share these with you obviously as well.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Tiny, but there's just a few different kind of... So it can go to your brain, so there's like kind of different symptoms for your brain. I think breathlessness is one for your lungs, obviously. I think that would be quite...
It's actually quite scary though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, what's the rates of this now? Is it like 1 in 2?
I don't know. And it's unbelievable, right? But secondary, you'll see quite a lot of people campaigning for make seconds count, like secondary breast cancer, make it count, because they don't count secondary breast cancer patients.
Why?
So I'm there, right? I'm getting treatment, and they know I'm getting treatment, but there's no record of secondary breast cancer patients. So when you go and get a primary diagnosis, your initial diagnosis, it's not spread anywhere, it's just contained to the one place, or maybe even recurrence in the same area, right? That's all classed as kind of primary breast cancer. They've got a log and they can go in and they can see how many people have been diagnosed, what age they were, what area they were from, you know, all the stats, all the normal usual stats. But the secondary is when you're diagnosed with secondary breast cancer, they couldn't go into any sort of log in the NHS and tell us how many people have got it. And
why? Just don't have the resources, or?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. So that's another reason
why. So we
why.
don't know actually what the rate is of that?
Yeah, because so you can go online and you can look at stats, but they're so outdated because they're going by, it's like a guessing game.
Yeah, that's crazy, isn't it? So we don't really know how things are improving or not.
So that's why this charity, Met Up UK, they're pushing for that.
Are they pushing for that too?
Yeah, or they do loads and loads
That's
of work.
good. I will tag them and stuff like that, because that's really, really good. So just before I let you go and get on with your day, I've kept you quite long.
I know, well, we should talk about KP.
No, I want to ask you that. I talk about me quite a lot, so don't worry. I want to ask you, do you believe that you can get better from doing the things that you're doing?
Yeah, no, so I'm not at a point where I'm like, right, okay, KP cures cancer, right? But
for £100.
No, that would be nice, but. And do you know what? Like, hopefully one day that is the case. And
but
I'm
what
like,
do you,
right,
do you think, like, remember I was telling you that story? I was telling her a story of this woman that I used to train who was seriously religious. She wasn't into any of the health stuff that I was into.
Yeah.
Her friend had the diagnosis with the tumour and they couldn't operate or something. It was too big. She was praying every night, praying.
Yeah, you were saying that.
And then it shrunk. So then they were obviously, they've got a big faith in God. I personally don't believe in God, but I believe in the power of the mind.
Yeah.
And that blew my mind. I was like, wow, so it's shrunk enough for them to do whatever operation. Like, and I'm just thinking, I love the power of the mind stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
I think that I keep telling myself every day like it's a miracle. I do say like that. So more recently I've had a scan since being on treatment, and the scans are showing that my bones are starting to heal. My liver's had a great response, and it's, I mean, I struggle to say that right pure.
But it's so good though, isn't it?
I know, I pure beam every time I say it, but and my scans, I posted my scans actually to show, because like literally you see holes in my spine and my pelvis, and then you see them filled. And it's just like incredible.
It's really cool, isn't it?
It is, and I've never been into like biology or anything like that, but now I'm like, oh, I quite like this.
But I just think it's cool, and I just to give you a wee fact before we go, like even like, so like oxytocin, right? Do you know that hormone? It's the love hormone, it's the cuddle hormone. So connection, right, can actually help our bodies produce bone marrow.
Okay.
But I mean, like, how cool. So what would that mean? That would mean like being connected, good relationships, so all that stuff can actually make our biology do stuff. So like that's why I wanted to say, do you, so all my chat and the membership and all that's all this shit, and I'm like, do you believe that you can fucking like...
Yeah, no, I do. I think every day, like I'll see things, like I think I said to you, like I see the number 11 everywhere, right? And every time I see it, I make a wee wish, right? And it's just something that I've got into the habit of, and I'm just like that, I wish for better health every single time, no matter what. And I feel like it's drilled this wee element of positivity in my head that it's just like, I'm not thinking, I don't know, I'm not seeing a cancer advert and going, oh my God, I'm dying of cancer. I'm seeing number 11 and I'm going, I wish for better health. And that just changes your mindset a wee bit. So it's just like such a small thing.
And I wanted, when you came onto the podcast, I didn't want it to be like a sad podcast, because I don't actually think of you like that. Like when you're giving your wee voice notes in the group, they're very annoying. Every one of those women in that group. But you do that and you're a dead positive, bright light. So like that's who you are to me. I didn't want you to come in and it was like sad.
No,
do you know what I mean?
No. I definitely think if you are willing to like have your grief periods, right? and allow yourself to feel depressed. If like I was depressed for a good couple of months. I never knew what depression was, and then it hit me like a bulldozer. But allow yourself that time, and then after that, make the decision of what you're going to do and like help yourself go on, because you can't just sit there and rock back and forward.
No.
Like you're literally wasting your life, and you're allowing cancer to win in that case. So I just think that the fact that I went, right, okay, I'm going to bite the bullet, I'm going to go for it, I'm going to make these changes. And like I said, I came back and forward to you several times, and I wouldn't be in this place if it wasn't for joining the membership, because genuinely I wouldn't have known how to do it. Like I was overwhelmed on where to start, what to do.
Yes.
And I even remember starting with the membership and saying to you, I don't know where to start. And you're like, yeah, whatever you want. What about this? What about that? Just do one thing at a time, like a small thing. And that is the only way that I've got to this point.
Yep, that 1%.
And I can't believe the difference now.
It's massive, mate.
Like, and I've only been doing it properly since the end of September.
Yep.
And so a couple of months.
And then you've got like all the women are pure supportive of you and all that in the group and stuff like that. So
it's
things
bonus.
like that make a difference. Do you know what I mean?
Well, you're saying oh, the hormone and the connection can help you, but like, do you know, there's loads of wee things that just, it's had a physical impact. Like, you know, I feel physically better.
Yes.
If I go off track a wee bit and kind of, like, you know, there was a week that Alan was home from working away, and we weren't very good. Like, we weren't eating very good, so it was just like a bit like, oh, you're home, so let's just do this.
Yeah, and that's
that.
okay.
And I know, and that's where I actually said to my sister-in-law today, I said, I'm going to be gentle with myself over Christmas, because I don't want to make myself miserable. Like, I don't want to be feeling like I'm pure out of everything. But also, I know in my head, I don't want to be veering off to that life last year.
No,
so
exactly.
I won't do half
You
the
do
stuff
get to that
I
point. I know. I'm so chuffed for you for doing all this stuff. I'm impressed. Do you know what I mean? I'm actually not easily impressed.
Well, thanks.
So I'm going to leave it at that. But thank you so much for coming on today, mate. And that's us done and dusted.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
We made it. Right, done and dusted.